Okay, I think we might actually be ready to start. For all of you listening on Spotify or wherever you're listening on the audio, I apologize if the sound is a little different or if it's super loud. Definitely turn it down if it's super loud. I am using a new microphone setup this time that I've never used before, and I just literally spent like 30 minutes trying to get it to work. So I think it's working now, but I may have to stop momentarily just to be sure that it's working still so I don't like ruin this whole episode. But I got, for you guys watching on YouTube, I got these headphones at Five Below. So we're just gonna take it with a grain of salt, and if they actually work, then great. If they don't, like, I won't be super shocked. But I saw these one day when we were at Five Below, and just in the technology section, and they're like just these super cheap headphones with a mic attached to them, and the box said like gamers headphones or whatever, so like I'm assuming that's what they're for. But I wanted to try them out because I was like, this might be so much easier than me like holding that other big microphone that I used to do and trying to like keep it together or stand it up or like keep the foam thing from falling off. So we're gonna try this and see how it works. And if I like it, they're already hurting my like jaw, like down here where they squeeze, like already kind of hurts. But you know what? They were like $6. So we're just gonna see how they work and go from there. But yeah, I have been struggling with like just spending the money to buy a nice microphone, which obviously I need to do. If you're going to have a podcast, you should probably have a nice microphone. Like that's probably the most important thing, is to have a nice microphone. So eventually I'm going to, but for now we're just going to work with this. I didn't even buy these. I think my sister bought them for me when we were in there. But yeah, we're just going to see how they do. Okay, I think we're still going strong. I think they're still working. So I just had to check to make sure I didn't just film this entire episode and then have to scrap it because it wasn't working. So I'm actually really proud of myself today because we're sitting down and we're doing another episode, and it hasn't been like 2 months. It's only been a couple of weeks. The last episode I did not film for YouTube. So if you guys that listen on YouTube might have to go, if you really want to listen to that episode, you'll have to go to Spotify to listen to that one. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. I'm hopefully going to get back on track, especially now that the colder weather is setting in. The riding season is going to slow down a little bit. I'll have a little bit more time to focus on the media type stuff and sitting down and editing and filming like this. So hopefully you'll see me a little bit more often now that the colder months are coming. We have gotten a ton of rain here the last couple weeks. So it's like fall mud season right now, which is so frustrating. I know some of my boarders have mentioned a couple times, like, what are we gonna do about the mud? And I'm like, dude, it's mud. At some point, I'm like, mud is not gonna kill horses. Like, if mud killed horses, horses would be extinct. But I get that nobody likes their horses like just standing in mud all the time. I don't like my own horses standing in mud all the time, but yeah, it's been rough. So if you guys have ever done like mud control or anything on your acreage or on your properties, let me know your suggestions. I wanted to get a dump truck load full of rock this spring because my boyfriend said that they would use their dump truck and they would just go get it instead of having it delivered, because it costs a bunch of money to have it delivered. So they were just gonna go get a load for me, and then lo and behold, it's now October and I still don't have it. So I'm probably just gonna have to bite the bullet and get some delivered. But let me know what your guys' suggestions are. I think I'm gonna put gravel for sure in the smaller pens, because like Red's pen and Chance's pen are both, I mean, they're smaller, so they pretty much have to walk in the mud because, you know, it's just such a concentrated area. So those two definitely, and Red's pen in particular is like almost entirely shaded by the trees. It's like surrounded by trees and it's all shade, which is really nice for him in the summer, but it also means it just doesn't ever dry out. So even in the summer when we get like multiple days of rain, it will be mud in there for weeks. It takes for like, it has to basically drought for it to dry out. Otherwise it just won't, because there's no sunlight that ever hits it and it just doesn't get hot enough in the air to dry it out. So So that doesn't help, but if I could get a nice base layer of gravel in there would be really nice. And then I'd also love to gravel all of the gate holes, because when we do round bales to go in and out of there with the skid steer is just really tough when it's muddy and it's wet. When the ground is frozen, like in the middle of the winter and stuff, if it's all frozen, then it's usually fine. The skid steer doesn't have any issues, but when it's muddy, it just, they got it stuck one time a couple years ago, and that was just a whole mess. And it was, of course, then my fault, even though I wasn't even there. But yeah, so it would just be nice to have gravel through all of the gate holes to get some traction and just prevent the gate holes from getting muddy in general when you take horses in and out. And then I really would just like to have some extra gravel laying around to do a base in my round pen. And then the riding ring has like one really soft spot, because when the riding ring used to be a dry lot, so when there were horses living in there, we would push the round bales off in there every winter. And at the time, we were just pushing them off my trailer, so we could just roll them if enough of us pushed it, and it would usually land in about the same spot every time, give or take. So they would stand around in this one spot pretty much all winter to eat the round bale, and it just made a really soft, like, just a soft spot. There's just a lot of manure there. It's very soft, and even all summer it never got completely solid and hard right there, so the horses don't like to ride through it and stuff. So I just need to put a bunch of rock in there to like solidify it a little bit before I do sand. Eventually I'll probably just do sand next year. I'm really not that worried about sand right now, but it's definitely one of those things that's just on the list of things to do. So yeah, some gravel would be nice. The mud control would be nice. And then one of the round bales I have stacked out there, like, is starting to get really gross. I think because it's on a little bit of a slight hill. So like the face of the round bale is like pointed upwards a little bit. And so like the rain's getting into it. It's getting all disgusting. But you guys probably already know the hay dilemma if you watch my YouTube channel. Hay has just been a whole thing this year because it was such a bad drought year that nobody really has a lot of hay available. Nobody really has round bales for sale. And if they do, they're wildly expensive. So I'm trying to preserve the ones that I have bought as much as I can. But, you know, they'll only stay good outside for so long. But I'm trying to preserve those. I'm probably going to try to feed small squares through the rest of November. I think I have... let's see, 6 or 7 round bales out there right now, and that's a good start usually. And I have a couple less horses now, I think, than I did last year, so we'll see how it goes. But I like the horses to be on round bales if they can be through the winter, just to stay warm and to keep their guts moving. And I also just don't have to do so much chores. If they all just have hay accessible, then I don't have to like wheelbarrow hay all the way out to the lots like full of snow, and just, you know, it's a whole headache, and I have to get up earlier, and it's just miserable in the, you know, negative 20-degree weather to be wheeling hay out there. So if they can just have it, then that'd be great. And actually, I got a friend on Facebook. So I've been looking for slow feed round bale nets, right? I've never had them before. And so last year I really wanted them and never got around to purchasing them. This year I was like, okay, I really want to look for some secondhand ones and start stocking up on slow feed nets, because I just don't want to go without them this year, especially with the hay shortage. So I started looking. I found 2 on Facebook Marketplace that I bought for $75 each. One of them was a Hay Chicks one, so that's like a really, really good price, because Hay Chicks nets are very expensive. But they are very good quality, and they have a lot of amazing reviews. And then the other one is a Tough One brand. So I don't know how much it costs new, probably in like the $100 range, but still it came across, so I bought it. And then I posted on like one of our local Facebook groups that I was in search of, like I just put an in search of post out for like some slow feed round bale nets in case I could find any used that someone had sitting around and maybe they just hadn't thought about getting rid of it. So I did that, and one of my local, I guess, acquaintances, she's in our saddle club. I wouldn't call us friends, but like I know her. messaged me and was like, hey, I have some I would get rid of, and I don't even want any money for them. Like, I would just give them to you. And I told her that was extremely generous, but I would very gladly give her some money for them because they are expensive and they are worth, you know, some money. And she literally told me, she was like, I don't want the money for them. Like, I like the stuff that you do with the rescue horses, and I would just be happy to give them to you. So I went and got those from her, and she also gave me a whole bunch of tack and like just random stuff she had laying around that she didn't want or use anymore. And she was like, this gives me an excuse to go through my tack room and you can just have it, and I don't even care if you sell it or if you give it away, like whatever you don't want. I would just like to give you some stuff to, you know, help you further in your career. Cause she's an older gal. So she's like, whatever I give you, I don't care what you do with it. It's yours. If I can pass it along to some other younger trainers, like trying to further their career, then that's all I want for it. So that was incredibly nice of her. She gave me like three or four slow feed round bale nets. And so now I'm like, geez, I didn't even have to buy the other ones. I should have just asked her. But regardless, I'll have some extra ones, which is awesome. And then I actually took one next door for Patrick and Louise because they just got a new round bale put in. So I put one on theirs so that hopefully they will save on hay as well, and be good throughout the winter. So I put it on there, and I don't even think they've like touched the bale yet. We did it yesterday, and we put the bale in there with the net on, and then I put the ring around it, and Patrick just kind of like walked around it and sniffed it and looked at it, but was like almost looking at it like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? I can't eat it. So I'm sure they're not happy about having a net over it, but if they're hungry, they'll figure out how to eat it. So that'll be good for them and hopefully help reduce some waste. What was I gonna, it was gonna lead me into something else that I don't even remember. But anyway, hopefully nobody will tear any holes in them. Hay Chicks have really good reviews, so I don't think anybody will tear the holes in them. But they do come with like extra little pieces of twine and stuff. So if they do for some reason rip a hole in them, you can kind of repair them. So hopefully nobody will. Okay, so a couple other things to prepare for winter. So any of you guys that are like trying to prepare for winter, can take some pointers maybe. But I have ordered my boarded horses a new, like, I don't even know what to call them. They're like a shed in a box. That's what they're advertised as, is like a garage in a box or a shed in a box. So they're not like permanent hard-sided shelters, but they're like carports, like canvas type carports. So they're kind of like a shelter on a budget, just to have one and just to give the horses somewhere to get out of the rain and stuff like that. So I ordered one of those off Amazon for $200, and I needed one for the boarded horses that are behind my house because that lot currently doesn't have any shelter in it. And for courtesy of just being a, you know, property owner with horses that are being boarded, they should have access to shelter. So I ordered one of those. It's like a 10 by 10, I think. So it's not huge, but you know, the horses will get comfortable in there if they have to. And so I'm going to put that up when that comes in back there so that they'll have somewhere. And then I also want to order a couple small ones. They have like 6 by 8s or something on Amazon that you can buy as well. So those will be pretty small, but I want to have one definitely in Red's pen, and then I'll probably order one for Chance's pen as well. And I have seen a used one on Facebook Marketplace, so I might inquire about that. But I just want to have something for them to go in if it is windy or raining, especially in the really cold weather with Red. He's going to get cold, and there's already been a couple of nights, like over the last month or so, where it has gotten a little bit colder at night in the 30s and stuff. And I come out in the morning and he's like shaking a little bit. So I do worry about him, and I want him to stay like dry and warm and have a place to not be in the rain. Chance for sure will use them because any chance he can get to get out of the rain, he's on it. Like when I have him over with Hazel and with Blue, the second it starts to sprinkle, he's over there in the barn. So I know he will definitely use one if I give him one. And then Red, I do plan on probably blanketing him most of the winter just to help him conserve calories and weight. But Chance, I think, is going to be okay this winter without a blanket. I did blanket him last year because he was so underweight when I got him. But I don't think he's going to need it this year. Which, speaking of, today when I'm filming this, it's the 27th. It came up in my Facebook memories today that I got Chance 1 year ago today. So it is Chance's gotcha day. And I put a little thing on Facebook and Instagram about him. But he is seriously, the last year of rescuing him and just keeping him around, he has been such a doll. Like, he's been such a joy to have around. I know I don't like do a lot of stuff on YouTube with him because he's just, I'm not really doing anything with him. But just like giving him scratches and snuggles all the time. His little face is so squishable. Like, I just want to squeeze it. I'm like that grandma that just like pinches the kid's cheeks. That's what I do to Chance. Like, he's just so cute, and his little fluffy muzzle is just so adorable. He's just so cute, and he's literally so sweet, you guys. I think he's still probably just in that baby phase where he's just so sweet, and he just like wants your scratches and is nosy and stuff. And I'm sure like coming soon he'll get into the teenage years where he has attitude and stuff, but he's just been so cute and so fun to have around. And we're still figuring out his health and his overall like conditions, but for the most part I'm really happy with the weight that he's gained and the growth that he has had. He's still way smaller than like he should be, but you know, being stunted and stuff, it's gonna have an effect on him. And I do want to start him next year if his body can handle it. He'll be 2, I think, in July is what they told me when I got him. So if he's at a good spot nutritionally and where he can handle starting to be put to work, then I'll definitely see what, you know, the vet thinks. But we'll just take it day by day. I am going to have him gelded in the springtime. The vet did tell me, I asked the vet when he was out a few weeks ago, like what he thought about gelding him and if I should wait longer so that he can kind of keep some of those hormones, if that helps him grow at all. And the vet honestly said not really. Typically stallions will stay a lot smaller than geldings will because they hit like this testosterone peak. And so actually leaving him a stallion longer might just not encourage him to grow as much if he does hit some sort of testosterone peak and like he just doesn't get any bigger. So gelding him really shouldn't have much of an effect on his growth or height or anything. Where was I going with that? It shouldn't really have an effect on his growth. So I do probably plan on gelding him in the spring when it gets warm. I am a little bit worried about him being a cryptorchid. So if any of you guys have experience with cryptorchids or have a gelding story, let me know. Because that is one thing I've kind of kept an eye on with him, is like his manhood development. And honestly, like there has been nothing, like there's no signs of dropping at all. So while the vet was out, I kind of explained that to him, and so he reached under there and he said he could feel maybe one testicle that had dropped, but the other one definitely not. So he may be cryptorchid. And so if he is, I will just have to take him into the vet to have him gelded rather than like doing it at home. And so that way he's at the clinic if they need to go a little more invasive or if anything goes wrong. But I am going to have him gelded. So there's that. I put him on a little bit of a different supplement because when the vet was out, I wanted to have blood work done. That was kind of one of the things that like was on my list to do with him, is because he hasn't gained a muscle so well. He's just still he's got like a big fat hay belly, but he doesn't really have any muscle. And so it's been really hard to get him to like round out. And so I wanted to get some blood work done in case there was anything I was missing, or like the vet said he could tell if like there was a stunted organ or anything like that. Did I talk about this in the last episode? I feel like I very well may have talked about this. So if you missed the last episode, I'm going to talk about it again. But if there was like a stunted organ or something that wasn't functioning properly, he could tell that from the blood work. But he came back anemic, which the vet had said, like, when they're anemic, it kind of, it prevents as much oxygen from getting, you know, absorbed into their blood and stuff like that. So his suggestion was for me to power pack him and give him like a double dose of dewormer for like 5 days in a row, and then put him on some sort of supplement in the meantime. So I did pick up some red cell for him and have been putting that into his feed, and I have been deworming him as well. So hopefully that's going to help him a little bit and get him back on track. And then I do want to get him like a protein block and stuff like that. He is on mostly alfalfa hay. He does get grass a little here and there, but he's on mostly alfalfa hay, and he's a good little eater. I mean, he eats. He's not missing any meals. So yeah. And then Red also got his teeth done while the vet was there. A little bit of an update on Red. If you guys saw my last YouTube video, I kind of explained what was going on with him. So he got his teeth done like the first week of October, and then the following week or two after that, I noticed his manhood was like dropped a little bit. So it was dropped out of his sheath a little bit and like just dripping pee. So I had sent a picture to the vet and was like, is this something I need to be worried about, like a UTI or anything? And apparently UTIs are very uncommon for horses. So the vet was not really concerned about it. He wasn't concerned about it really at all. He's like, just keep an eye on it. If, you know, it doesn't seem to get better, or he seems to like not be able to pee very well, we can investigate some more. And so I kept an eye on it, and it really did not seem to get better. It actually seemed to like maybe even progress more. So I wanted to take him in because after doing some research online, I did see that like stallions can have like penile paralysis, and I don't want him to have any nerve damage or anything down there, because like, why would I have a stallion if like his wiener doesn't work, you know? That doesn't really make any sense. But so I just wanted to get it looked at and checked out. So it also started to like almost swell a little bit more, and then it seemed like it was getting this like clear sack of fluid around it, like a big blister, you know, like just what a water blister looks like. It looked like it was just getting a sack of clear fluid around it. So I was like, I really just want to get this looked at. So I took him back into the vet. I hauled him there because I didn't necessarily want to pay the farm fee again, and my vet is like 45 minutes away, so it's a jaunt for them. And I wanted to get it looked at sooner rather than later to prevent any damage. So I took him down there, and my vet actually had to research a little bit, because that's one thing I like about my vet. If he's not really sure, I mean, and he is a very knowledgeable horse guy, but if he's not really sure or hasn't seen something before, he will do extensive research on it so that he kind of knows how to treat it or what's going on. And he found that different types of sedatives can have effects on stallions' genital regions. So I don't really know a lot about it. I don't remember which sedative he said he gave him. I think it was like A1 or A2 or something like that. But they can have, they can affect stallions' manhood region a little bit more, and they try not to give it to geldings if they don't have to. So he thinks that he could have had some sort of sensitivity to it, especially given that he's so underweight. And so there's honestly not a whole lot that we could do about it, but he did give me some like steroid ointment and stuff to put on it, which I have to say, I haven't done a whole lot of like hard handling with Red, so I don't really know him that well. I've only had him a couple months, so I don't really know him that well or his mannerisms or anything. So I took a friend to the vet with me just in case I needed an extra hand with him, or, you know, he wouldn't load or something. I don't know. And so since we got there, and the vet was like, it's probably from the sedatives that I gave him. So basically we don't want to sedate him again to work on him. So we're just going to have to try to handle him and manage him while he's awake. So I was like, okay, well, I wasn't brave enough to just reach under there and grab a stallion's ding dong. So that's the only reason I hadn't really like investigated it more, because I was like, well, I don't want to just be reaching up under there to a stallion that's not sedated or anything. Because when I had Soccer, my gelding, I know he did not really appreciate his manly business being dealt with. And so I didn't really have to clean his sheath a lot because he was very clean. But naturally, I assumed like a stallion would be more protective. He wasn't. Oh my gosh. Like, we got there, I unloaded Red, showed the vet, you know, what was going on. The vet literally reached right under there and grabbed it. And Red, like, his ears kind of went up like, whoa, excuse me. But otherwise, he stood there the whole time. The vet was literally like squeezing it really hard, because basically he told me that it's filling with edema. So it's just filling with fluid and stuff. And the only way to really get it worked out of there is to squeeze it. So like, yeah, he's just reaching under there, grabbing Red's area and squeezing it and pushing on it and stuff. And Red's just like standing there, just not really any reaction. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like here I am, too chicken shit to grab my own horse's ding dong, and the vet's just up there doing his thing like no big deal, and Red doesn't even care. So he gave me some like steroid cream ointment stuff that I had to put on it, and then I think he gave him a shot of something. I don't remember what it was. And then I've just been giving him a little bit of Banamine. But we have to give him like half the dosage of Banamine because he is so underweight. So hopefully it'll pass, and like after a few months he'll regain some sort of strength in it. But it's already been improving. I mean, just the vet like reaching under there and working at it for 15-20 minutes, he was already trying to like pull it back up, and like, you know, it was getting better the more that the vet was working at it. So now once a day at chore time, I go out there and I take my ointment cream, and I gotta, you know, get up in his business, which is a first for me. I never had to do this with Soccer, and like I've had all mares otherwise, so I've never really had to do this. So it's been kind of interesting. And let me just tell you, I didn't realize how bad sheaths smelled. It's disgusting. It smells so bad under there, and he's not that clean. So I've been trying to like clean him off a little bit and stuff, but I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. Like I said, I really never had to clean Soccer's sheath because he was very clean as it was. And I really just kind of sprayed it with the hose, like when we were done with a hot ride or anything. So it just kind of rinsed off the dirt. But Red is not very clean, and it stinks. And so this is not fun. But this is what owning horses is, I guess. You just have to do the gross things you don't want to do. But so hopefully we'll see some progress there. He has been getting grain with his hay. So he's on straight alfalfa hay pretty much every meal. Again, I give him like a grass flake here and there. But so he's getting that. And then for grain, I've been giving him beet pulp, alfalfa pellets, and then I just went to the feed store yesterday and I got some cracked corn and oats. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to it. And then I've been putting red cell in his food too, just because I figure it can't hurt to just put some red cell in there, and his deworming pellets. And then I think I'm going to try to get some sort of oil to give him a little bit more of a fat source. So let me know if you guys have an oil that you swear by. I've been doing some research on the different types of oils because I've heard conflicting things. So if anybody out there is an oil expert, let me know, because there's so much conflicting information about oils just out there on the internet. Either like vegetable oil, I've heard a lot of people say it is really bad. It's like giving your horse motor oil basically, and can cause a lot of inflammation and stuff. So I'm like, well, I don't really want to do that. Like if he's, you know, got any other underlying issues going on, I don't want to like encourage any inflammation or anything. But the whole like omega-6 to omega-3 thing, I've been trying to do some research on. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any oils that you really like and have seen really good results with. So I'm trying to stay away from vegetable or corn oil from the store. But any other oils are super expensive. So I don't know. they do sell just like that healthy coat oil at the store, which I think is soybean oil. So I could try that, or flax oil. There's like hemp oil now you can give them, which is super expensive. I think it's called off-flower oil. That's super expensive that you can give them. But I have also heard and have done it before. I've fed sunflower seeds. So I've heard people will do this for like their dark colored horses as well. Like sunflower seeds will really help keep horses that are black or bay, keep them dark and not like let them sun bleach so much. So I've never tried that, but I've heard that's what they're good for. But sunflower seeds have a natural, like very high fat content as well. So I'm kind of like, well, if I need to go to the store, I might just grab a bag of like sunflower seeds, like from the bird seed section, and give him those too. And it's kind of a natural, more raw forage-based way for him to get extra fat. Because I do really want to try to keep him on a forage-based diet. I don't want to feed him grain if I don't have to. Obviously, if I can't get him to gain any weight, forage-based, then I'll try to do grain as well. But I really want to try to keep him on a forage-based thing. I really like the forage-based diets, but they are hard to figure out. So I don't know. I've had like a love-hate relationship with the forage-based diets because they like, you have to balance it yourself. It's buying all the different things, and then you have to balance it and figure out what your horse needs to get. Whereas like in actual grain, they've already done that. So you feed based on your horse's body weight, and then it's supposed to have everything in there that your horse needs. But I don't know. I did reach out to an equine nutritionist, which wasn't really a lot of help. She basically told me I basically would have to have a total analysis done of his hay, and then weigh out everything that he needs, and have the blood drawn, and like see everything internally really to give you an answer on what he needs to have. But yeah, so where was I going with that? I don't even remember. But yeah, anyways, I really do want to try to keep him forage based if I can. So if you guys have any recommendations, let me know. Getting him on alfalfa was my first thing, so he's been doing good on that. Oh, I forgot to say too, after we got him home from the vet, I was thinking he was gonna be sedated and then I would try to trim his feet and stuff, but since he wasn't, and I had a friend with me, I was like, you want to just hold him, and I'll just try to see if I can clip off any of his feet, because his toes were really long, and his feet are still really long. They're almost like stretched. Like they're stretched forward and stuff, so he's just very they're over exaggerated. They're very forward and underrun and like stretched out. So that's gonna take some time to correct, but I was like, can you just hold him and I'll just see what I can do. If I can at least just get the toes off a little bit, then I'll be happy. And guys, he was so good. He was a perfect gentleman for me to trim his front feet. Like I didn't do a huge trim because I don't want to make him super sore, like totally mess up his legs and stuff, but I did try to take a little bit of toe off and get a little sole off so that he, wasn't so long, and he was great. He just picked them up and let me do it, and he fiddled a little bit, but not much at all. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really impressed with him. Like I trust him way more after just that one day at the vet than I have, since he's been here. His biggest thing really is just getting the halter on. He doesn't like having it put over his nose. He just constantly tries to get away from me when I do that. So I have to work on that a little bit with him. But otherwise, like, I have been doing his sheath cleaning and squeezing and stuff just in his pen while he eats his grain. Like at night when I feed him, he'll just stand there, eat his grain, and I just do the thing, and he just lets me do it. So I'm very impressed with his temperament and his manners and stuff. So he's so sweet, and I think he's going to be a really, really nice stud. So yeah, those are some updates on him, some updates on everybody. Now that the lessons are kind of slowing down with the weather and stuff, we're not going to be doing so much stuff. So I do need to try to save money and just, get some things done to hopefully improve the property and everything for next year. But it's hard to do if business is slowing down. So, we might try to haul to like an indoor setup a few times this winter, and my lesson girl is working with Maggie and stuff, so I'm sure she'll want help with that, but we won't be doing so much traveling and hauling and stuff like that. So my plans are to get, I actually would like to haul around because I would like to try to get Hazel to some stuff over the winter if I can, even if I just haul her there just to stand at the trailer all day. She just needs to get out, get exposed, and do something. So we'll see if I can get that done. I actually want to park my trailer up in their pen. So I have the gate like towards the driveway, and I want to try to see if I can back my trailer into the gate hole and park it there and just have it just parked in their pen, basically, because Blue is not afraid of the trailer and she lives with Hazel, so she'll just jump in and out of there, you know. But if I start feeding them in there or something, it might just get Hazel a little more comfortable with looking at it and being up next to it and seeing it before I start trying to load her again. And Hazel's just one of those horses, like, she has just got huge walls built up, and like new scary things are extremely tough for her. So it might just help her like a little bit look at it on her own time and do things as she gets comfortable. And then when I do ask her to get in the trailer, it might not be such a terrifying experience, but I don't know. Maybe it won't do anything. We'll just see how it goes. But anyway, I think that's about all the updates and stuff I have going on for you guys. Oh, I did want to ask you guys this thing. Okay, I don't know if any of you guys have been on TikTok lately, but have you guys heard of this whole Cheesecake Factory thing? I heard it on a podcast that I listened to, and then I heard it again on the radio the other day about this. If you don't know, you're just gonna have to go look it up. But this girl basically went out on a first date with a guy, and then he pulled up to the Cheesecake Factory, and she literally started recording him and basically was like, I ain't getting out of this car because we ain't going to no Cheesecake Factory for a first date. And so they had this whole argument in the car about going to the Cheesecake Factory for a first date after she was an hour late to their date in the first place, which is why he went to the Cheesecake Factory, because the reservation that he had made at a different restaurant was already, like, they were already over the time because she was so late for their date. And so people are having very conflicting opinions about whether or not the Cheesecake Factory will suffice for a first date. And some people are like, yeah, absolutely, the Cheesecake Factory rocks. And some people are like, no, I wouldn't want to go to the Cheesecake Factory either. So I'm curious as to what you guys think about this whole thing, because I come from a place that I can't imagine being so entitled and being so, like, she literally got her phone out to record this guy just to embarrass him for taking her to the Cheesecake Factory. And I just can't imagine coming from a world where it's like, where you think you are so high up on a pedestal that going to a specific restaurant, like, you can't even be seen eating at a restaurant. Like, oh my gosh, the world we're coming to is just absolutely unbelievable. So what do you guys think? Personally, I'm like in the boat that I've only eaten at the Cheesecake Factory like one time. But my boyfriend loves the Cheesecake Factory. He loves going there. He thinks it's so good. And I do remember when we went to the Cheesecake Factory, looking at the menu, and they literally have such a wide array of stuff. They had, like, the one time we went there with me and my boyfriend, we did a double date with his best friend. So it was me and my boyfriend, his best friend, his girlfriend, and I think I got a pizza. I got a margarita pizza, so like an Italian type pizza. My boyfriend got like a chicken pot pie type of thing, like some southern comfort food. The girlfriend got orange chicken, and his best friend, who is Mexican, got tacos. So we literally all got something completely different. I got Italian pizza. He got American Southern food. And she got an Asian dish, and he got a Hispanic type dish. So they have like a very wide array of things to choose from. It's not just like one style of food, and obviously the cheesecake. But I thought it was good. I mean, I thought it was really good. I was impressed by it, and I definitely didn't have any complaints. It's not like the fanciest restaurant you're ever gonna go to. It's not like suit and tie, make a reservation type thing at all, but it's definitely not a fast food joint or anything. It's still a nice sit-down restaurant. I thought it was very nice in there. My boyfriend literally would think that it is suit and tie worthy, because for some reason my boyfriend has this idea that some restaurants, like, you can't even go there unless you have your fancy clothes on. And so he's kind of in that boat where it's like, oh, we're going to the Cheesecake Factory means we're going to a nice place. And the Cheesecake Factory is not really cheap either. Like, it's still like, it's not crazy expensive, but it's definitely still pricier, I feel like. And honestly, I think me and my boyfriend's first date, we went to Burger King. And then we went over to the Casey's across the street and ate in the parking lot. Like, that was our first date. So to me, I just don't have a lot of high standards for first dates, because you literally don't even know the person. Like, you don't even know this person. Maybe you've met them before, but still, like, you might get to the end of this date and be like, I don't even like that guy, like, not gonna happen. And then you or they have just spent $200 on this first date, then you're not even gonna like the person. Like, I just don't think first dates need to be that fancy or that expensive. And then if you want to take this relationship more seriously, then go do expensive things after or later on. But I was really shocked. I was like, people are actually siding with this gal? Like, this is just ridiculous to me. I would be happy if you, like, got a frozen pizza from the store for our first date. Like, I just don't take it that seriously. So yeah, that's my take on it. I don't know what you guys feel like, but I don't think first dates need to be all that and the other. But anyway, I think that's all I have for this episode for you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you did, if you are on YouTube, thanks for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts down below on all the things I asked for input on. I don't remember what they were. And if you're listening on Spotify, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I think I'm on other things too. I'm not just on Spotify. I don't remember what all I put for it to be uploaded on. But if you're listening on the audio, thank you for listening. Go ahead and rate this podcast if you can. I think you can rate them on the different audio streaming things. So go ahead and rate it, please. Would help me out a lot. And let me know what you want to hear for the future episodes. Like I said, now that we're slowing down a little bit, I should be here a little bit more often. So let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know any questions you guys have. I'd really like to do a Q&A sometime. But otherwise, I'm going to jump off of here and move on with my afternoon. I have the house to myself for the next couple days because my boyfriend's out of town. So I'm going to do some stuff, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye.